Are you worried about the cost of living, about everything that's happening in the world at the moment, where prices are going up, gas is going up, and expenses are going through the roof? And it's worrying you so much so that you're considering a second job? Well, if you're a midlifer and you are considering a second job, stick with me because I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I think taking a second job at midlife is not a great idea and what you can do instead. Well, hi there. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Coluccio and I'm the author of the brand new to be released any minute now, Your Midlife Side Hustle. And I'm also the host of the Rocking Midlife podcast, of which you can catch some of the videos here on this channel, as well as the Rocking Midlife community, which I'd love to invite you to. Details are down below. If this is your first time visiting, it's wonderful to have you here. Please make sure you subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know where you're from. And if you are returning, thank you, you rock, but make sure you hit that bell so you're notified whenever a new video drops. So I've been talking a lot about side hustles lately. I've been on a number of international summits and just chatting in general because hello, I've just written a book about side hustles because I think they are such an incredible tool when used correctly. They can really be life-changing. So I don't know about you, but down here in New Zealand, our cost of living is going through the roof. I filled my car last week with a whole tank of petrol or gas, and I couldn't believe it, $150. Now, thank goodness, I now have my own business where I can work from home, so I'm not commuting too much. But wow, that was a shock. And the biggest shock was thinking, oh my gosh, how many other women out there or how many other people out there are having to pay costs like 100 plus a week just to be able to commute to their workplace before they even actually do any work. It's horrendous. Now, the cost of living, like I said, like broccoli, I think you need to take out a house mortgage to buy a stalk of broccoli at the moment. Tomatoes are even worse. They're like diamonds. It's just incredible. And unfortunately, it's a worldwide thing that's happening at the moment, and it doesn't look like it's changing anytime soon. So we're all in this same boat, but we actually have 2 choices. And I find, especially for midlifers, when we're not just worrying about us, but we tend to be worrying about our families, and we tend to be worrying about, oh my gosh, I'm only a few years off my senior years. How on earth am I going to support myself in those years? It becomes more than just, wow, veggies cost a lot, doesn't it? It becomes something that actually keeps you up at night, something that weighs on your mind. So the traditional advice that tends to be given to people who are struggling to keep up with the costs of living is, well, just go get a second job. Now, that might be fine if you're a super active, eager, can exist on no sleep type late teen or someone in your early 20s. But for the average midlifer, this isn't necessarily a great idea. And I want to give you 3 reasons why I think just getting a second job is not actually the solution to helping you keep up with the cost of living and start building financial security as you head towards your senior years. Reason number 1 why I think grabbing a second job is not necessarily a great idea at midlife is if you take on another job, that employer is going to expect the same dedication, the same commitment, potentially the same hours as their other employees for whom it might be their only job. Employees don't go, oh, you need a second job, just so you can earn a few more dollars, but your main interest is over here on this job. No one's going to give you a job, are they? It's crazy. But unfortunately, we sometimes get so worried about immediately trying to fix our situation that we jump into things, and sure enough, down the track we realize that no longer do we have a full-time job and a part-time job, but that part-time job is expecting full-time workload to be done in those shorter hours. Now you're talking to someone who has been there, done that, got the medal, had the burnout, trying to juggle all these commitments. Because unfortunately, when you get another job, you're locked into another company with all of their rules, with all of their expectations, with their hourly schedule. And when you're doing that on top of an already full-time role, you're asking for trouble. You're potentially setting yourself up for more stress, for potential burnout. Who wants to fill up their midlife season, which is often when you get that little bit of breathing space after being the full-on caregiver and Uber mother running your kids around everywhere, to fill it up with another job, with another boss, with his expectations and demands. So the question to ask yourself there really strongly is, am I actually setting myself up for long-term success or long-term pressure? Let me know your thoughts on that one below. Okay, reason number 2 why I think getting a second job isn't the best option for you at midlife. And that is, it eats up all of your time. Now you're probably going, yeah, duh, of course, any job does. But think about it. If you're already commuting to that first job, how much commuting is going to be involved then in going to that second job? How many extra meetings? How many more calls? How much extra of your time is it actually going to take to work this second job? Is the pay really worth giving up so much of your life? Like we said, midlife is this season in your life where sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, you come out of the cave blinking, you've left the child raising years behind you, your child's now able to get themselves out and about and feed themselves and dress themselves and all of those things. And it's a chance for you to actually go, oh my gosh, this is time where I can do the things that I have maybe been putting off. Maybe you want to take up a new sport. Maybe you want to spend more time with your partner because, you know, that kind of gets sacrificed a bit in those child rearing years. Maybe you want to try new things or you want to travel. Now, taking the financial side of things away, because obviously a lot of that costs money, it's still worth asking the question, are these hours that you want to give up? Sure, the actual work hours might just be another extra 10 or an extra 15 or an extra 20 hours a week. But when you wrap the commuting around that and you wrap all the other things around that of having to check your emails and all of these other things, you could potentially be looking at a whopping big chunk of your time being eaten up with this second job. And then a few months down the track, like we said with the last point, you're going to find yourself more stressed. You're potentially going to find your relationships under stress because now you're just working all these hours at this second workplace. You're going to be frustrated because you're going to be commuting so much more. Chances are your physical health will deteriorate because you're not going to have time for the self-care and things that you need to be doing to look after yourself. It's worth considering, is the salary you get from that second job enough to offset what you'll potentially lose in relationships, in time, in your life? Okay, my third reason why I think taking a second job as a way of building financial security at midlife is not necessarily the best thing to do. And that is, I touched on a little bit, your family. This is your chance to spend those remaining years with your parents if you've still got them. Chances are you may be actually their caregiver in these next few years. How are you going to have time to do that when you're running off through the traffic to do that second job in that second workplace? It's a chance for you to meet your grandchildren, bond with your grandchildren, or actually spend more time with your partner. Or you may be a single mum, a single person who's like, wow, I think I'm brave enough and I've got this time and space now to maybe dip my toe back into the dating world. Now, I say this as someone who only got to see my parents in the last 2 weeks after nearly 3 years due to border closures. My parents live in Australia, I live in New Zealand, and it's been hard. I could start here. It's been actually really, really difficult. In fact, I was extremely teary when they left. And realizing how precious that time was with them. When they came over, they got to meet their great-grandson for the very first time. He turned 2, and it's taken that long for them to be able to get over here to see. And it just made me more and more aware that my time with them is limited, and I want to be doing the type of work that not only pays my bills, that looks after me, that gives me that financial security that I can be building as I work towards my senior years, but the type of job that gives me the time to spend with the people in my life that I love, especially those who might not be around for many more years. So I really challenge you to weigh that one up. Are you prepared to sacrifice the time with family and with friends for that second workplace? Let me know. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Okay, so I've given you 3 reasons why starting a second job at midlife is not necessarily the solution to dealing with the cost of living and the worry about our senior years and how we're going to support ourselves, and even bigger, how we're going to be able to give back and help our children and help our neighbors and help our friends. You may be going, Kat, yeah, this is all great. I totally agree with you. A second job, absolutely. It sucks. I don't want to go there. I know it's going to take so much of my personal life. But what do? I'm still facing this financial issue. Well, I wrote Your Midlife Side Hustle for a reason, because starting side hustles is what has worked for me as someone who lives with chronic pain, who actually could no longer work in the workplace. It's something I had to start. And now I'm so grateful for it, because these last 2 weeks when my parents were in town, I was able to spend time with them. Sure, I did a bit of work on my computer of a morning, but then I'd sit with my mum and we'd chat and we'd talk and we'd go out and look at the garden. And my father planted our amazing garden. My 84-year-old father planted my garden. I need to just insert that there. That is phenomenal. But having that side hustle and setting my own hours and being my own boss and not having to commute elsewhere to go to work enabled me to spend time with my parents. Doing so enables me to see my grandson. Doing so enables me to manage the pain that I live with, because I can sit back in a recliner and I can still keep being productive and fulfilled and not just feeling like a failure because I'm letting my boss down at work because, oh, yep, she's sick again. I guarantee you that you can find a dozen reasons why starting a midlife side hustle could be the key to you making that income you need to feel secure going forward, while still allowing you to keep your current job, so you've got that income coming in while you build it up. But this way you can be focused just on that one job and that one boss's expectations. It can enable you to be able to work from home, so you're not commuting, you're not actually driving up your bills in petrol and car usage and all of those things and having to commute and go to another workplace. You don't know what you could be dealing with. You may have to buy more uniforms. You'll certainly be paying more wear and tear on your car. You'll be able to avoid that when you start your own side hustle rather than getting that second job. And number 3, it will allow you to create that time and that space and that balance that you want, to be able to spend the time with the people who mean so much to you. So I have one little task I'd like you to do, and I would love you to email me at kat@katcoluccio.com and let me know what comes up. I'm really curious to know, or leave me a comment below. So here's my little challenge for you. I'm going to put on my life coach hat here, and I'd like you to pull out a big piece of paper, and I just want you to write a whole lot of what ifs. What if I did this? What if I did that? What if I decided to share my admin skills with someone? What if I started my own Pinterest business, a social media business? What if I could help a local sports team put out their newsletter and then maybe scale that and do a few sports teams? Just start dreaming. What are all the things that you could potentially do? What interests you? Just write them all down. You don't need to make any life-changing decisions. Just brainstorm, because chances are you may not have ever actually allowed yourself to do this before, and you'll be amazed at what comes to mind. And the more you write things down, it's that old mind mapping thing, you'll find that you think of even more ideas, and before you know it, you'll be able to identify, actually, that is something that really flicks my switch. And then that's when the fun starts, when you choose to actually start putting an engine to that and bringing it to life. But that's down the track. What if I can resist the lure, the supposedly easy, quick answer of just grabbing a second job to help with what's happening in the world, the cost of living, my future, my financial security? What if I could hang on a bit longer? What if instead of just following the norm and getting that second job so I can afford to live, I took things a little slower and I kept the job I've got, but I started to dream about what I could create that would enable me to have all those other things. what if? Leave a message below. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure to subscribe, leave a message, share it out, and let's continue this conversation. One more thing, I have actually an incredible giveaway for you. I nearly forgot. It's a wonderful ebook I put together just a few months ago, and I know it will help you do your what if exercise. It's called The Ultimate Midlife Side Hustle Guide, and in it you will find 30 online side hustles that may just spur your thinking, may just give you a little nudge to get you thinking a bit creatively about what if you decided to start a midlife side hustle and how that might look. Check it out. Link is below. I'll see you next time.